Welcome to Get It Now with CashTalk Credit Repair Services, hosted by Rawle Rollocks and featuring today Daniel Thomas, credit specialist. The Get It Now with CashTalk Credit Repair begins now.
Hello and welcome everyone to Get It Now with Cash Talk Credit Repair. For those of you tuning in from YouTube or Facebook, we are so happy and delighted that you've joined us, and we look forward to a very riveting and lively and always informative discussion. During this live stream, we look at issues related to debt management, financial planning, okay, and we help individuals with the tools, the tips that they need to navigate all that's required to become financially independent. I'm your host, Rawle Rollocks, financial advisor and business coach. This program is brought to you by CashTalk Credit Repair Services, a pioneer locally and within the region in the field of personal credit repair. So, when we talk about credit repair, our focus today is on your credit score. So, do you know that we each have a credit score? Do you even know what your current credit score is? Are you aware that your score affects your access to loans, the amount you pay, and the rates that you pay? So, let's get it now with Cash Talk Credit Repair. Hello and welcome back to Cash Talk Credit Repair Get It Now podcast. And with us today to help navigate this topic on knowing your credit score, we have Mr. Daniel Thomas with us again, I would say, to help navigate this particular topic. Mr. Daniel Thomas is the CEO and managing director and founder and pioneer in this particular area of credit repair services and so forth. He joined us last time where we were discussing the issue of what does it mean to repair your credit. A very important aspect of repairing your credit had to do with improving your credit score. So, Mr. Thomas, we can jump straight into it. When we talk about credit score, I'm sure many of those tuning in would be asking, what does that mean? What is a credit score?
Well, Mr. Rollocks, what I want to say, thank you for having me and a pleasant good evening to everyone and all viewers outside here. Um, this topic this afternoon is very, very important. I'm really excited to share what knowledge I have, to the general public of Trinidad and Tobago and basically the Caribbean and how far our services reach outside here. All right. So based on the question that you just asked is, what is a credit score? Right. Now, so a credit score is a number, right, that represents a consumer. So I'm going to just repeat it again. A credit score is a number that represents a consumer, right, of their credit worthiness. All right. So each time you go to a financial institution, they will pull that particular number or your credit score, as you may say, to see how you are doing with your credit, how you are doing repaying your loan. So that's the importance of the credit score. That's what the credit score is about.
Okay, so this number, I guess, could be of any particular value, right? It could be
Right.
a high
So,
number, a low number. So, what would you describe as a good credit score when it comes to
but-
accessing loans and financing?
so firstly, it's a credit score range from within a 300 to 850. All right. So what do we describe as a good credit score? We're talking about within the 700 to 850 range. That's an excellent credit score range, right? To have a normal credit score, we're talking about 670 to around 739 around there. And just, Persons who have a credit score that's below 500, well, that's not favorable to the financial institution. So many times you're applying for a loan, you realize that you have been turned down, or turned away, or probably asked for a representative or for a co-signer is because your credit score is below 500.
Okay. So below 500 is bad.
Yes,
Above
definitely.
700
It's excellent.
is excellent. Oh, I
Yes,
see.
it's
So
excellent.
from
Yeah.
your experience in this particular area, I take it quite a lot of people find themselves below 500.
Well, in Trinidad and Tobago, so I would say roughly about um, 60% of persons are below 500 in their credit
Wow,
score,
wow.
especially
But
based on what took place in the past 2 years with the economy and
with the,
COVID-19.
I see. But are people even aware of this thing? I mean, I up to the when we would have met with you, I wasn't even aware of this question about a credit score and how it worked. How long has this been around?
Well, basically, the credit score have been around for a while, quite a while in Trinidad and Tobago. All right. It has been used to, to calculate a person on how to get the loans and with also with their rates. All right. So, in terms of understanding, the general public do not have the knowledge of what is their credit score. What they know about is that the banks will check their credit, but they don't understand the importance of their credit score. And that is something that we are sharing here today. What is the importance? Their credit and
Well, while we're on that, we can delve straight in. Why is this score important? I mean, I'm sure I know you would have had personal experiences, in this particular area. Maybe those experiences you can share. But why is
yeah.
knowing your credit score and having a good credit score important?
Well, I'm going to share from my one of my experience. Right now, I can remember taking a loan when I was much younger. I was like 19, 20, and I didn't pay my loan. And my father was a co-signer, and he was really upset. And I was like, "What are you getting upset for? Right? All you have to do is just pay the loan." But I didn't realize or understand that the importance of credit score, and uh, if he co-signs with me, that will also affect his credit.
Oh,
Right? So during that time, he was applying for a mortgage. Right? He was applying for a mortgage, and these little details, right, will affect a person. When applying for loan, when applying for mortgage, himself, being for vehicles, these things will affect. So I didn't know the importance of that at the age of 90. I say, well, just pay the loan and I was it. Yeah. So
yes, yes.
by understanding the importance of it now, right, um, sharing the knowledge to persons outside there, it is important. The credit score is important, but just that you dressing properly to go for interview. That's how important it is.
Okay,
All
okay.
right. Yeah.
Do you feel there's a greater role that can be played in bringing about a greater awareness of this issue of the credit score? Because it's not something you hear often about. You may hear about it in passing, but certainly not many people that I'm aware of certainly understand the importance of this score.
Well, yes, there's a greater role of education, to probably educating persons. And that's why CashTalk are here today, trying to educate persons and the general public the importance of the credit score. And not just one for persons to become partners or members with us, but it's understanding that for your financial future, it is important to understand what is your credit and how you deal with your credit, how you treat your credit, right?
Yes,
As I say
yes.
again, the credit is important, but just about how you carry about yourself. And
Okay.
that's where the bank will respect you by you respecting yourself with your credit score.
Well, given this reality and given this need and given the value and its importance, um, how is this score calculated? What are the components of this score? Is it something that's static? Is it something that changes? Tell us a little bit more about what are the components. What makes up this score?
That's an excellent question. All right, so basically start off with the FICO score. All right. So in terms of what actually the banks look at is the length of time you take to pay your loan, all right, how often you make your payments, right, and also the type of loan that you're taking with a mixed loan. So for instance, I'm just going to break down a percentage here. We look at your payment history. The financial institution will look at your payment history, right, and also TransUnion because they are the person that's responsible for dealing with your credit score here in Trinidad and Tobago. right? So they will look at your payment history, which is 35%. They'll look at the amount that you have owed, right? That'll be 30%. So we have to understand that when we go in for a loan, we need to know how much balance we have and the type of loan. If you look at the consolidate, that's different. If you're looking for a vehicle loan, then you'll look at how much you have owned. So that's the next 30% you look at. Then look at the length of your credit history. The length of your credit history is also important, right? So that represents you. So that's your character going down there, day after day after day. So the way you live your life, right? That's
Could you
another.
explain a little bit more about that when you say the length of your credit history? Is this from the time you started taking out loans? What is
Yes,
that period?
well, it also started from the time you start taking out loans. As I always advise persons to start taking loans at a younger age and build that credit history. So it'll be
Okay.
marketable for the financial institutions. All right. And the more you do it and the more you pay on time, it helps in the long run.
So is it
Right?
that the longer the period means that you have a longer history of paying loans and so forth, which works to your
Yes.
benefit?
That works to definitely at your benefit. And that's 15% that's calculated there. Right?
Wow.
And then we look at the new credit. So it means that the new loans that you take out and how you um, take and repay those loans, right? That's a 10%. Then we look at your credit mix. So we talk about the credit mix is where you hire purchase. You might take a loan from a credit union, you might take a loan from one of the commercial banks, right? And how you service those loans also to that the next 10%. So all those that we discussed, that actually falls basically around 100%, and that will calculate and bring that up to your credit score when you're
Oh,
planning for it. Yeah.
so this score is where who keeps this score? Is a score that the bank calculates? You mentioned TransUnion a little while ago.
Yes.
Where's this score?
This
Yes.
this score is calculated at TransUnion, right? So once a client is delinquent, the bank have the full authority to report to TransUnion, right?
Okay.
And that will go upon your history. When you take out a loan for the first time, that loan goes to TransUnion. So you are now, how to say, be scrutinized, right? In terms of how we are going to service this loan for the next couple of years.
Okay. And these are
Yeah,
all official institutions reporting to TransUnion and
yes,
TransUnion calculating the score. Okay.
yes,
So
yes.
is it that individuals can report on you? So let's say I took out a personal loan with someone and I'm not paying them well and we don't have a good relationship. Can they call up TransUnion and say, listen, I lent so and so a loan. This is the information here. I want you to make a note of this. Can individuals also report on you?
So definitely it cannot work like that. So there's something called a Lenders Act in Trinidad and Tobago, right? In order to lend somebody money that you need to be a licensed money lender. So that's the first thing that the court going to look at. Are you a licensed money lender, right? Then you need to be a subscriber to TransUnion, right? And TransUnion, so you have to be a
Okay.
part of the financial institution, right, that provide loans to the general public to be a part of TransUnion.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So, well, I know we didn't mention money lenders. So, therefore, from what you're saying, money lenders are included as well. Money lenders can
No,
report you.
what money lenders, it all depends on the size and the type of business they are doing,
Okay.
right? So, for instance, we're looking at courts, and the courts have the micro loans at this point in time. They don't fall under the banking institution, but they fall under the Lenders Act, the Money Lenders Act.
Okay. So, the
Yeah,
individual money lender who is licensed is not
yeah,
necessarily included.
not necessarily included, unless they
Okay.
subscribe to TransUnion. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just blew a sigh of relief there. Not for me, not for me though, not for me. So great. So we're getting into the nitty-gritty of this credit score. Of course, the question, that we all want to get to is that, I mean, by the way, how can I get this score?
All right, so a person could actually get a score by applying to TransUnion, right? They can actually get a score free once per year from TransUnion. They are located in Carlos Street and Arpita Avenue in Port Spain, right? And
Yes.
you could go there and pull that TransUnion. Or if you are a member of CashTalk, we can pull that credit score for you also too, right? But for another instance, if you haven't done that as yet, then you have to pay us some of approximately $150 to get it from TransUnion.
Okay. And how often does this score change? So if I pull my score this month, um, is it likely by the next month if I pull the score again, I can see a different score if I'm paying well? How often is this score updated?
Well, so it doesn't matter how often you pull the score because often when you pull the score, it can also damage you,
Okay, please explain.
right? Right? It can also damage you. So we are talking about with the credit mix, right? Most people think that when they go to a bank and they pull the credit score there, and then they try another financial institution, thinking that the other financial institution would not know that they went by Scotiabank before or Republic Bank, right? It all shows up on the TransUnion record, right?
Okay, I think you have
So
to run that again, Mr. Thomas. So you're saying that if I go to Scotia to check for a loan today, and then I go to FCB,
yeah,
I go to, all of that becomes a negative towards my credit score.
yeah, that comes a negative towards the credit score. That definitely comes a negative
Okay.
towards the credit score, right? I
So
think that's about
mhm.
10%. Yeah, that's about 10% of your
So
credit score.
can you
About that.
explain the thinking behind this? Why, if I am, because on one side, one might say I'm exploring my options and I'm trying to get the best loan deal ever. So the more persons I talk to, I'm able to pick the one that's best for me. It seems to be wisdom. What's the thinking behind this being a negative thing?
All right. So there are institutions like, for instance, CashTalk here in Trinidad and Tobago, where we can lobby for loans with different financial institutions without affecting your credit score, right? So we will
Okay.
send different proposals to both the commercial banks and the credit unions on your behalf with a copy of um, your credit score, right? Instead of you going to five different financial institutions thinking that you are doing something good, but actually you're doing something bad for yourself.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
every time you pull a credit score, it is an inquiry of why, right? And then the other financial institution will see that score when it pulls. It will see
Oh,
that score when
I
it pulls.
see. I see.
So, for instance, we have done a survey with that, and that score usually will be on the system in a matter of 48 hours.
Wow, as quickly as that.
Yes,
Hmm. So certainly
right?
here, this is a recommendation for persons to check cash or credit repair in that regard if they want to safely check these things without it affecting their credit score negatively.
It's our right person now as as how the country reopened and they are looking to lobby for loans, advise them to get in contact with someone from CashTalk and sit down with them and let us do proper proposal, to the financial institutions, especially when they go to a mortgage, and we will work with you, you know, to curb that instead of affecting your credit score before you actually get the loan.
Okay,
Important.
okay.
Yeah.
So great then. So let's say I have a poor score. I have challenged getting loans, or the rate in which I'm paying is very high, and I come to you, uh, cash or credit repair services. What are some of the tips or suggestions that you would make, or the things that you would do to help? I know you wouldn't be able to share all, but can you share some of the things that would help persons improve the credit score?
Well, basically what we do, actually, we work with something called a credit rehabilitation program, where we work with persons who have bad credit score, which is below 500, and we tend to rehabilitate, right, by granting them microloans also. And these loans will be reported to TransUnion, right, by CashTalk. And from
So we're
there,
talking here, we're talking here about persons who cannot access loans at all. And I see we have an
yeah,
example of, if you're looking to maybe purchase your first home,
yes, yes,
this is a situation that you can help in, right?
yeah. So it's so important because just recently, a client of ours, they did not know that they could go to TMF and apply for a loan, right? And they have bad credit score. But with TMF, right, we did a letter on behalf of the client, right, based on their financial status, right? And they were successful in applying for one of the mortgages at TMF. right?
Okay.
Because they do not hold the credit score when applying for loan. So these are some of the
Okay.
things that, once you come into cash, we will advise and guide you accordingly, where to go and how to actually achieve those things.
So I guess you're saying there that each person's situation is different, all right,
Yeah.
and it requires some sort of consultation. But there's a way that you at CashTalk Credit Repair can help rehabilitate. And when we say rehabilitate, we're talking about persons who maybe cannot access loans at all. So by
Yeah.
having these micro loans, is it that this is something that they would not be able to access anywhere else, and therefore these things will help them?
Um, well, how many microloans? Definitely, once the credit score is below 500, they will not be able to access the financing,
Okay, so this
right?
person
So you have
cannot
to
get a
access
loan.
it. Yeah, so that's definitely where you can access it. Common,
Hmm.
right? Now, I talked to some of the credit unions where we can work hand in hand also to help persons with their shares. And that will also give them an improvement in applying for larger loans, right? So these are some of the things that we are working on.
Okay. The other thing you mentioned, and I think it's important to note here, you mentioned the fact that you advocate on the client's behalf, and I figure being a good advocate is important here because there are many persons who may not be able to write the letters the way they should be should be written. Maybe there's a pattern and a way, with all the legal language and so forth. Maybe some persons cannot do so, or some persons may not be able to communicate in a way that's required. They don't know how to approach the institutions. Cash Talk Credit Repair will then step in as an advocate to represent the client's best interests. Is this a critical part of what you do?
Yeah, that's a critical part of what we have because again, based on our experience, we wasn't heard for a period of time. When we are launched in 2018 as CashTalk, right? And we started using our attorneys to write on behalf of the bank attorney, and that's when we started getting faster response. So a
I
normal
see.
person writing to the bank, they would not get response, but if our attorney writes to the bank's attorneys, yes, then definitely they get faster response,
Oh,
right? So there
this
are a lot of
is
financial disputes. Yes.
yeah. There's so many things here to explore. Okay,
Yeah.
so I did come across the issue of having what you call negative information or bad information or inaccurate information that affects your credit score. Can you explain a little bit about what this means and how it affects your credit score?
Yes, we're talking about the financial disputes, right? So based on
Yes.
one of my, yeah, based on my story that I shared with my first presentation I did with you, all, and not understanding how the credit card operates. So if I had a Visa credit card for quite a while, I paid it off and it actually stayed on my credit score for 19 years. Not knowing
Wow.
is due to the financial institution, they're supposed to clear it off. And every time I go to different financial institutions, I was turned down because of that. And that actually gave me the drive to start actually cash flow. Because I believe that if I am in that problem for 19 years, how much other person will be in that same situation? All right? Because of negligence of other person. Now, so
Yes.
my attorney wrote to TransUnion. TransUnion wrote to the financial institution based on an investigation. And it was dealt with within less than 14 days, it was dealt with. And that like a new vehicle was that easy. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. So this really is, from what you're sharing with me, this really seems set, this service that CashFlow Credit Repair is offering seems set to revolutionize um, access to credit, access to loans in Trinidad and Tobago, and I dare say the region, because I'm not aware that there are other similar services in other territories. So this really is pioneering work, and it's so we're so happy to have had you here to share some of these tips. But just as we wrap up, um, if you were to give just three of your top tips, three of the top things, let's say somebody approaches you and they're really not aware of what to do and they need to start somewhere. What are the top three things or pointers that you would give, or three things that you would, um, points of information that you would offer to help some persons on their way to getting their credit score to the place, to the level that it should be, and access the loans that they need? What would be those 3 tips?
Right. So the most important thing that I'm going to start off with, I want to share it with that, especially for new persons who are now getting into the employment industry, right? It is important to save at least 10% of your salary, right? And just remember that banks look at your spending pattern, not just for your credit card, but also the money that comes into your account, right? It's important to understand the spending pattern because you will be judged by your spending pattern when you're applying for a loan, right? So please keep that in mind. I also would like to share with persons is that having a co-signer, right, when applying for loan is not actually beneficial because if you damage your credit score, you will also damage your partner's um, credit score also. So it's important for that, right? So when we think that we have a co-signer is not necessary. I mean that bank will actually trust you, all right? So that's something that is really, really important. And third of all is that having knowledge, I'm not sharing it like having no knowledge at all. So based on my experience with having bad credit, right? I'm sharing it with each and every one of you all. And if you all have someone who have bad credit, please contact CashTalk. We will help you.
And how can they contact you?
They could contact us by email or by the number 754-2274. Right? I believe the number could probably show up on the screen or probably one of the ads that will be displayed.
Excellent, excellent. So, Mr. Thomas, thank you so much for taking the time to delve into to guide us through this evening's broadcast related to your credit score and you. All brought to you
Great.
by CashTalk Credit Repair, a pioneer in the region concerning credit repair services. And also, we'd like to thank our producer and sponsors, LSC Publications. So, you want to be kept in the loop, those of you tuning in on YouTube or Facebook to learn more about our upcoming podcast or even more about the services offered by CashTalk Credit Repair. Please check us on YouTube, Facebook. Please like and share, which is one of the points that Mr. Thomas made earlier. So thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, mind your own business.
Thank you again, Mr. Rawle.